This is Radio Taiwan International.
Welcome to the news on Radio Taiwan International. I'm Amanda Stevens, coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan. We begin with a look at today's top stories for Monday, March 30th. A bipartisan delegation from the United States pressures Taiwanese lawmakers to pass the special defense budget. The U.S. issues its first ever initial payment deferral as Taiwan misses the initial payment deadline for rocket systems. And the presidential office will closely monitor an April Xi-Tung meeting amid the legislative deadlock. But first, today's top story. A bipartisan delegation from the United States is visiting Taiwan to pressure lawmakers over the stalled special defense budget. Led by U.S. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations ranking member Jeanine Shaheen and committee member John Curtis, the delegation will speak with President Lai Ching-te and KMT legislators, hoping to accelerate progress on Taiwan's special defense budget. In addition to Shaheen and Curtis, the delegation includes Democratic Committee on Foreign Relations member Jackie Rosen and Republican Senator Tom Tillis. The group visited Lai on Monday morning in the presidential office, where members spoke in support of the budget and strengthening defense overall. Shaheen said that the United States is concerned about mounting pressure from Beijing, including military activity around Taiwan. She said that peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait are crucial for global economic development, and that the United States recognizes the steps Taiwan has already taken to strengthen its defense resilience. Curtis spoke directly on the budget, personally endorsing the bill and warning legislators that his American colleagues were closely watching its progress. Curtis said,
"I'd like to personally endorse the special defense budget and tell you back in Washington, D.C., that my colleagues are watching, that this is important. We want to make sure that as we invest in this part of the world, that you are also investing and that we're in this together."
His speech was supported by Tillis, who reiterated that, quote, "defense and your peace can only come through strength," end quote. During the meeting, President Lai noted the 1.25 trillion NT dollar, or nearly 40 billion US dollar budget was currently under review, adding his voice to that of the delegation in calling on legislators to pass the budget. Last week, legislators debated the bill, with less expensive alternatives proposed by the KMT and TPP without reaching a consensus. Now the proposals head back into cross-party negotiations. The budget delay is already causing problems, notably Taiwan missing the initial payment deadline for a weapons deal with the United States, which came and went this Monday, resulting in the first ever deferred payment. Defense officials, however, say that the pressure is likely to mount with more payment deadlines approaching and the funds necessary to afford them tied up in the special defense budget. The delegation will remain in Taiwan for just 2 days, according to the Foreign Ministry, and will also meet with Vice President Xiaobi Kim and Foreign Minister Lin Jialong. The United States issued a payment deferral on Taiwan's purchase of 82 HIMARS rocket systems on the initial payment deadline of Monday, March 30th. This is the first time the U.S. has issued such a deferral and gives Taiwan more time to resolve the legislative impasse over the 1.25 trillion NT dollar, or almost 40 billion US dollar special defense budget, which was originally meant to facilitate payment for the rocket systems. Speaking to legislators on Monday, Defense Minister Strategic Planning Department Director Huang Wenxi said the U.S. has postponed payment until it finishes negotiations with the contract supplier, Lockheed Martin, currently estimated to be by the end of May. The U.S. has no precedent for allowing initial payment delays, but after several rounds of discussion over the weekend, the Defense Ministry, the U.S. Defense Security Cooperation Agency, or DSCA, and the American Institute in Taiwan reached a consensus. Huang says the DSCA will use emergency procedures to temporarily fund necessary expenses for the contract negotiation. However, after the contract is signed, Taiwan will be expected to pay all related costs. He said,
他签约完成之后
5 days after the contract is signed, we still need to pay the necessary post-contract payments. Therefore, we are continuing to strive for the project to be approved within the deadline and to obtain the budget.
在期限之内能够条例通过，能够获得预算。
HIMARS aren't the only systems likely to be affected. Defense Minister Wellington Koo noted that 4 other items, such as a Javelin missile procurement, all have initial payment deadlines soon. If the special defense budget and subsequent regulations are not passed in time, Taiwan is likely to have to seek leniency from the United States again. China's Taiwan Affairs Office Director Song Tao announced Monday that Chinese President Xi Jinping invited KMT chairperson Zheng Liwen to visit China next week. Presidential Office spokesperson Karen Guo responded to the news that Zheng had gladly accepted the offer, saying that the presidential office will closely monitor the meeting and asking Zhang to explain the timing of her visit in conjunction with her party's delay on the special budget review. Xi's full invitation, per Tao, invited Cheng to lead a delegation through several stops, ending in Beijing from April 7th to 12th. Zhang accepted the offer, saying she hoped to prove to the Taiwanese people and the world that cross-strait relations are not, quote, destined for war, end quote, but also achievable through peaceful efforts. In an interview, Guo said that the presidential office is closely monitoring the interaction due to concerns over the legislature's continued reluctance to review both the General Budget and Special Defense Act. She noted that the U.S. is also closely watching Taiwan's situation, and that under these circumstances, the Xi-Zhang meeting will be closely monitored. Addressing Zhang's statement about cross-strait relations not being destined for war and the timing of the legislature's delay over the arms procurement bill, Guo called on Zhang to clearly explain herself. She said Zhang owes the Taiwanese people an explanation for both her party's continued delays on such important legislation and her reasoning for visiting China at such a time. American Institute in Taiwan AIT Director Raymond Green spoke in a TVBS News interview on Friday in favor of the recently proposed special defense budget. Green said that it will effectively enhance deterrence capabilities, particularly in the production of drones and other unmanned systems. According to a subsequent AIT Facebook post, Green added that many in Taiwanese society have expressed support for the special defense budget, believing it will help boost economic benefits. He pointed out that Taiwan possesses a strong industrial manufacturing base, enabling these capabilities to be rapidly translated into substantial combat power. Regarding the nature of warfare, Green mentioned in the interview that both the Russia-Ukraine war and the conflicts in the Middle East demonstrate that new technologies, particularly unmanned and AI, are greatly impacting the battlefield. He pointed out that the special defense budget focuses on these areas to boost asymmetric warfare characteristics and can potentially play a significant role in deterring conflict. On energy issues, Green also pointed out that Asian countries are recognizing the risks of supply disruptions and are therefore promoting the diversification of energy sources. He stated that the United States, as one of the world's largest energy producers, hopes to deepen cooperation with partners such as Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea to provide these alternative sources. Green said that the new contract signed between Taiwan's CPC Corporation and Cheniere Energy for importing liquefied natural gas from the U.S. Gulf Coast is a positive step forward in Taiwan's energy diversification strategy. The CDC has raised its dengue fever travel advisory level for 19 countries, urging the public to take precautions against mosquito bites while outside of Taiwan. CDC spokesperson Lin Mingcang stated that since dengue fever is not prevalent in Taiwan, the main prevention strategy is stopping imported cases from causing local community outbreaks. The 5 countries listed at Level 2, or Alert, include Brazil, the Philippines, Bangladesh, India, and Vietnam. Some of the remaining 14 countries listed as Level 1, or Caution, are Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Cambodia, Laos, the Maldives, Peru, and Mexico. The CDC advises the implementation of 4 lines of defense: enhanced public education, mosquito surveillance and control, travel preparation, and stricter procedures at medical institutions. In addition, the CDC also provides consultations through contracted clinics, offering information on the risk of dengue infection and preventative measures before traveling abroad. Tips include wearing light-colored, long-sleeved clothing, applying repellent, avoiding bites while abroad, and self-monitoring health after returning home. Lin stated that if any travelers who have recently returned from Southeast Asia or one of the 19 countries on the advisory list develop a fever or rash, they should take an NS1 rapid test. Clinics have been set up in various counties and cities, especially in the south of Taiwan, where the risk is highest. Taiwanese driver Tiger Wu won the Pro-Am class in the opening round of the 2026 Porsche Carrera Cup Japan, or PCCJ, held at the Suzuka circuit on Sunday. Fans were surprised to hear Taiwan's national anthem played at the awards ceremony, a rare occurrence for the country in international sporting competitions. Although organizers still displayed the Chinese Taipei flag, many Taiwanese who had come to watch the race were moved to tears. The PCCJ, established in 2001, is Japan's premier single-brand championship. All participating drivers used Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, ensuring fairness and that results depend on driver skill, strategy, and teamwork. The event serves as a support race for high-profile events such as the Super GT and F1 Japanese Grand Prix. Tiger Wu, who will turn 60 later this year, competes for bingo racing and moved up to the Pro-Am class in 2025 after winning the Am class title in 2023 and 2024. Thanks for joining me for the news. I'm Amanda Stevens. Stay tuned for another 50 minutes of English language features brought to you by Radio Taiwan International.